Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a great start of this weekend. My apologies for the audio. I have to record with my AirPods these videos this morning, so I know the audio is worse. I've tweaked some settings to make it a little bit better, and I'll try to make it a little bit better in post-production as well. So hopefully it's bearable. But that's a situation for now. But we'll do a full update here on XRP, which has opened today relatively strong. Especially also compared to Bitcoin, so that's great to see. And also just in general, yesterday we had some news coming in, which I'm not 100% certain if that news actually came in yesterday or that it was already known on Friday, but at least we got the moves yesterday. But here you can see XRP BTC, pretty strong. Got a breakout above the trend, so now a pullback is quite logical. We also hit a major resistance level here in the chart. So getting a pullback to be expected, but ultimately we have a chance for XRP BTC to turn bullish here, all right, which would obviously be great because that means that XRP, regardless of what Bitcoin does, and Bitcoin this morning, price action has been good. So in this case, it doesn't really matter, but if Bitcoin starts to pull back, and XRP BTC can actually remain bullish, then that's obviously good news, right? Because then XRP can decouple a bit from Bitcoin and gain some strength, or at least hold on tight when Bitcoin pulls back. But that's something we'll monitor at least right now. Like I said, XRP is doing quite well, and that actually started yesterday. Now overall, this was to be expected, right? I mean, what I've said for the last last weeks maybe already, is that on the higher time frames, after getting this beautiful reclaim back into the value area we've been in since the 29th of November, it was to be expected that we would rally at least into the POC right here at 2.4. And then from there, and that's also what I wanted to talk about in this video, from there we'll talk about whether we can get to the value area high right here at 2.62, right? And 2.62 is by far the lowest limit we can go to. Technically, we could go all the way to 2.9, 2.8, right? So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yesterday we got news of a futures XRP ETF being launched, right? So the market initially thought it was the XRP ETF, or at least some of the market thought so. And so that's why we had a relatively big volume spike over the course of yesterday afternoon. But that was like very quickly, like 10 minutes after the news. I also posted the news in my news channel on Telegram, but very soon after we realized, this is not the normal ETF, right? I mean, if most of you still remember how the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs came about, that was an entirely different process. So it's futures XRP, so that means that there's no real impact that has on the price of XRP, not directly. Indirectly, I still think it's bullish, and that's also why I think XRP is moving up slightly here, because it also increases the chances of getting a normal XRP ETF. When we're talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum, for example, those both had futures ETFs as well before getting the real ETF. So it is bullish. I do think it increases the demand for XRP slightly, even though it's indirectly. And I do think in general it's a sign that an XRP ETF is more likely to be approved somewhere in 2025. But we'll see, there's no guarantees. But what you can see right now in the price is that it has a real effect on the price, right? I mean, volume is up nicely. It's up 120% versus a 10% move up for Bitcoin with the volume. So there is a lot of momentum, and I don't want to bet against momentum. So unless today we see a major pullback across the markets, which is a possibility, all right? If we get some bearish fundamentals, if we get some more geopolitical tension, it's a possibility. But as long as the market stays relatively stable, I think we'll retest this level right here between 2.28, maybe all the way down to 2.2. It's a possibility. I think that's where kind of the POC is of this recent range we had. So that's a possibility, even though 2.2, I'd say it's a little bit low. And from there, I expect us to move into that main target right here between 2.41 and 2.45. And then the major question afterwards is obviously, can we break above that? I think initially not. All right. I think initially there's too much liquidity, there's too much resistance to break above that. If after finding resistance there, if we can hold 2.3, 2.35, and the market also stays relatively resilient, then I think we can get continuation into 2.65. Obviously, we can get that if we actually know about the XRP ETF coming out. But for now, I'd say it's more likely to do something like this. But like I said, I'll keep you updated on that. For now, I think that's what you need to know. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.